This is the shirt I thrifted and I turned it into this cute top without using any sewing pattern. So let me show you guys how I made it so you can make it too. I started by cutting a few inches off the bottom of the shirt. I left enough length to work with so I could adjust it later. Then I cut along the side seams and cut around the armhole before I reached the shoulder seam. Then I cut straight across the neckline, and this is one of the many ways you can create the gather neckline. Next, I cut both sleeves open and removed the sleeve caps. Then I cut straight across the top of the sleeve. The reason why I did this is that the top of the sleeve will be part of the neckline gathering, so we cut straight across just like we did with the bodice neckline. Then I laid the bodice on top of the sleeve, aligning everything, and cut the sleeve armhole as the same as the bottom armhole. This way, when I attach the sleeves to the bodice, both armholes match perfectly. To make the front and back of the sleeves the same, I folded each sleeve in half and cut the other side following the curve. I also cut a few inches off the sleeve length since I want the sleeves to be shorter. Next, I placed the front and back bodice right sides together, then attached the sleeves to the bodice. Make sure the right sides are facing each other when pinning the sleeves to the bodice, front to front and back to back. Once you attach the sleeves, you can finish the raw edges with the zigzag stitch. At this point, your neckline is going to look super wide, but that's okay because once you gather it, it will come together. Starting at the sleeve, making sure all the seams align, I sewed the sleeves and side seams together. Next, you'll need an elastic band and you'll also need a bias tape and a safety pin. I opened up my double folded bias tape, placed it onto the right side of the neckline and sewed it all the way around. Then, turn the bias tape to the inside of the shirt and finish sewing it, leaving about 2-inch gap. Next, put the elastic through the tunnel and make sure to close the gap. Then, I moved on to making the ruffles for the hem of the shirt. I cut 4 long strips of fabric, measuring about twice the width of the shirt. I folded and ironed the raw edges twice and sewed them with the basting stitch. To create ruffles, I sewed 2 rows of basting stitches, then with right sides together, I pinned the ruffles to the hem of the shirt and sewed it all the way around. After sewing that, I turned the ruffles down and ironed them. Lastly, I hemmed the sleeves. Winding my bobbin with elastic thread, I sewed 2 rows of straight stitches at the longest stitch length and highest tension on my sewing machine, which was actually a really easy and fun way to create ruffles on the sleeves. And there you have it, guys, a thrifted men's shirt transformed into the cutest top and a fun piece to add to your wardrobe. Let me know if you guys try this thrift flip, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.